a small country and had always difficulties. They had the Egyptians on the south and the Syrians in the north, the Babylonians and the Syrians and the Greek and the Romans for many, many years. But because of the fact that they were a small country, they never dreamed about big empires and big armies, and they found out rather very rapidly that cultural values, moral values, they survive and they stand up, and they will survive for many generations. This is the reason, and the only reason, that I use for myself and for the others to explain the fact that here one tribe after the other is coming in, and you listen to the people. They were sitting in Yemen for 2,000 years practicing Jewish customs and Jewish morals and reading the Bible and waiting when will they return to their homeland. And you have people from North Africa, and you have people from Russia and Europe and Latin America, any place in this world. It is because of their feeling that they want to return to their homeland and continue and build those cultural, moral values, which are so important, I feel, till this day, to the Jewish people. You have been to Masada, you have seen Yad Vashem, the Holocaust. So all this is perhaps an additional reminder what the Jews have gone through and what gave them, in spite of all their terrible hardship, enormous strength. So, as a result of all this, I have remained an optimist believing in the future of the Jewish people, a nation that could keep its culture and moral values for 3,000 years, will certainly continue to do so for many thousand years to come. But we want, once for all, again, a home for the Jewish people. And Israel is supposed to be such a home. And I hope that finally we will be successful. I think that we want certainly peace. A friend of mine has just published a little book in which he has collected all the sayings in the Bible where the word peace appears. It's about 5,000 times. Because of the fact that Jews were more interested in peace than the Romans, I assume, or than the Babylonians or the other big powers. This is why we pray for peace. And this is why we want finally to have peace. And I want to believe in mankind, that not everybody is crazy. And if you serve as an example in decency, in honesty, in respect for life of human beings, finally you will achieve this aim. The fact that you are here is for us really a pleasant experience, because we feel that we represent in this part of the world a little country which is free, a country respecting democratic principles, a country respecting the life of the individual. And unfortunately, the countries around us, they do not belong to this category. And while standing for these principles, we must have friends abroad. We must have colleagues who support us, certainly spiritually, morally, and sometimes with the right means that we can't get ourselves. So in this respect, when friends come from far away, from Los Angeles and other parts, we feel that we have a family far away and that we are all trying and struggling for the same principles and trying to revive a country, a homeland for the Jewish people. I want just to add what I have always said to many of my friends who come from abroad. I know that the UJA people, they are interested in means for Israel, the bonds people, the Keren Kayemet people. But thanks God, I'm not representing my Minister of Finances. So I am more interested in the brains and hearts of the Jewish people and of friends all over the world. We want the people to understand what we are doing. We want the people to help us in their vocational knowledge, professional knowledge, so that we will be able to spread all the principles that we stand for the benefit of all concerned. So thank you for being with us and a lot of success. I hope you'll see your family here and you'll be, on the whole, proud of it. All the best.
Are there any questions that you'd like to ask? Sydney?
Yes, as President, precisely what are the functions and duties of your office?
Very good question. Be careful. Sorry. Now, well, there are some official functions. Well, one of the functions is to nominate judges in the country. Practically every important representative in any high office will finally be nominated by the president. When there are elections and representatives for the Knesset are elected, it is the duty of the president to find among the members elected the men who will form a new government and who will automatically become the prime minister. Usually he does it by consulting the new representatives of the new members of parliament. Now, in this area, I became an expert because after the Yom Kippur War, a number of governments have fallen, and new governments had to be formed again. So this was still at the time of Golda Meir and afterwards Rabin. The president is supposed to pardon prisoners. So he has to pardon prisoners. He has to look at the various cases which appear before him. But in addition to various official duties, I think that according to Constitution in Israel, the president is supposed to represent a kind of a father figure that people come to and will tell him about their achievements and difficulties, and he'll have very great moral influence. So no prime minister and no minister and no citizen will really dare to do something if he feels the president doesn't want him to do it. It's not by law, but this is the custom of the country. So the president should be very, very careful in at least not expressing in public opinions that he knows that at least a good part of the people will not like it. So really, according to Constitution, it is stated, this is the first sentence of the Constitution concerning the presidency, that the president is supposed to symbolize the country. And I've told many times, many friends of mine, that Weizmann, our first president, when he was asked, "What are you doing all day?" So he said, according to the Constitution, I'm symbolizing the country. So he was asked, "Is it a very tough job? What are you doing all day long?" So he said, "All day long, I symbolize the country." But to my very great, really surprise, it's a very, very tough job. If you want really to symbolize your country well, it's a very tough job. Well, these are some of the functions. Please. Well, we don't have to work together, not at all by Constitution. But usually the Prime Minister will come in every fortnight or every 3 weeks, and he will stay here and report about the activities of himself and of the activities of the government. Usually, this was at least my experience with Mrs. Golda Meir and with Mr. Yitzhak Rabin, that when they come here, they are very, very open-hearted. They will really tell not only what they have been doing, but what they have on their minds and their difficulties. I certainly try not to make their life difficult, but I try to comfort them. And usually ministers of the government, they will come in very often, practically most of the ministers. And by law, after every meeting of the government, the secretary of the government has to come to the president and give him a full report what was going on during the meeting. So I would say that as a result of all this, the president is supposed really to know what's going on in the country more than practically every citizen in this country.
During parliamentary recess as we have now, suppose a crisis should develop, if the president has the power to act in this period of crisis.
Now, only if the government resigns. He has no power, according to Israeli constitution, to disperse the parliament or to ask the prime minister to resign. But if the prime minister resigns, then it is his function, if there are no new elections, it is his function to find among members of parliament somebody who will be the next prime minister. So these are really his official rights. Usually, if the prime minister will want to resign, he'll certainly come first to the president, and the president will look who can replace him.
President, we know that Israel is a peace-loving country, but the latest news with the trouble in the Galilee and the West Bank and the trouble with Hamas has shown the rest of the world some bad publicity. What is Israel doing to counteract that, if anything, or what can it do?
Now, one has to look into, at least to survey this situation in the following way, I would say. As you know, the Palestinians who are in the West Bank, this is this area of Shechem and west to the Jordan. The total number will be about 600,000 or something like it. Then we have in the Gaza Strip perhaps another 300,000 Arabs, and then we have some Arabs living within the borders of Israel, within those borders of 67, before 67. Now, really the situation as far as at least most of the people, at least the Jewish people, see it, is the following, that there is no doubt that many of the Palestinians have strong national feelings. They didn't have them at the beginning of the century, but they have slowly acquired national feelings. Now, our policy was, to a large extent, let's try and help the Israeli Arab population, to a certain extent the West Bank population, to build up their lives as far as the economic standard of living goes, health care, etc., with the idea that then they'll at least be more reasonable as far as collaboration goes. So the standard of living of many Arab families has gone up unbelievably. I would say that if you take the Gaza Strip, it has gone up most likely fivefold or even more. In other places, just the same. Now they get, very many of them, good health care, better education. But this only, I think, enhanced their feeling and desire to be autonomous, because now they have perhaps a little bit more time, they are more intelligent, and they have this desire. They are Arabs, very many are Muslims. And there is no doubt that we have to find a solution for the Palestinian Arabs. Our difficulty at the moment is that the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which is very, very extreme, and they are somehow liked at least by very many young Arabs in this area. And their plan, unfortunately, we cannot accept. According to their plan, terrorism is justified. They've been killing families here and there, women, children, just innocent citizens, and this is part of their plan. And the other part of their plan is that one should form within the borders of all Israel a secular democratic country of the type of Lebanon. And as the experiment in Lebanon is very successful, and there you have Christian Arabs and Muslim Arabs, but they are all Arabs. So one can imagine what will happen here if you have a democratic secular country where you have the PLO people representing the Arab group. So what we are trying now to do, and this is our policy at the moment, we all feel that finally a solution should be found. Our suggestion was, let's have the West Bank combined with Jordan. Then it will be a little bigger kind of state, and let them run their state as they like it. Jordan is more Western oriented, so it will be easier for us. We don't want the Russians next door. If the West Bank will become an independent state, it will have Russians an hour from Tel Aviv. There are now 3,000 Russian experts training the Syrians in Syria with modern kind of Russian war techniques. So we don't want them close to Tel Aviv. But really our policy is the following. We want to try and suppress the PLO and the communist-oriented Arabs within this area, with the hope that this will enable the more moderate and more liberal Arabs to say what they have to say, and there are very many liberal Arabs who want to reach a kind of a settlement without throwing all the Jews to the sea. It is a solution, but I'm afraid Jews don't like it, particularly in Israel, this type of solution. So this is really what we are trying now. So this was the reason that during the last 2 weeks, the stand of the Israel government was rather severe and strict. They didn't allow kind of the PLO people, the Rakach people representing the communists, to take hold of their own little towns and villages. So in order to enable the more moderate and liberal ones, perhaps to come up and not to be suppressed. This is really the picture as we see it.
Thank you, Mr. President. The President has kindly consented to greet all of us individually, so I'll call the names of our group: Mr. and Mrs. Baker, Nancy and Herb. Yeah, no, their name. Their name is named. Mr. and Mrs. Mel Bayer. Mr. and Mrs. Mark Bloom. We have one lady with us who is not from California, but from Colorado, Miss Faye Carter. She consented to join us. Mr. Marvin Chalik. We're partners. Mr. Ben Cohen. Now we have a family with us. We have Leslie Cohn and Mr. and Mrs. Weiner and Joelle Sirkin. I thought they should all come up together. We have Mr. and Mrs. Alex Coleman. Mr. President, this mission started in their home, really, because Alex and I were together on the Prime Minister's mission. Mr. Bill Domash. Mr. and Mrs. Aaron Fenton. Mr. Jerry Fogel. Mr. Marvin Gibson. Mr. and Mrs. Eugene Goodwin. Are they Mr. and Mrs.? Are they Mr. and Mrs.?
No. Oh. In front of the president, he's writing the Rhoda show. You know, you've seen the Rhoda show?
Yeah.
With Harper?
Yes, and they're coming next.
Mr. and Mrs. Ozzie Gorin. Mrs. Gorin is a past president of the United Jewish Welfare Fund. Mr. and Mrs. Alan Greenberg. Mr. and Mrs. James Hara. Wait, hold it. Mr. and Mrs. Hara. Florence, we have to get your picture. Mr. President, if we get home and there's one picture missing, I'm in trouble. Mr. and Mrs. Ernest Hoxted. Mr. and Mrs. Harry Holzberg. Mr. and Mrs. David Jacoby. Oh, they're not here? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Jacobs. Mr. and Mrs. Murray Kahad. Mr. and Mrs. Ben Kraser. Mr. and Mrs. Martin Maxwell.